didn't want to become a software engineer. No, I wanted to become an aeronautical engineer because I loved the planes. Writing a book is not easy. It took me a year and some months to finish writing the book. Every time that I was writing the book, I actually wanted to give up because I was like, oh my goodness, what am I doing? Who am I lying to? How am I even an author right now? I didn't come out from any fancy background or any cool background. That's why I believe in chasing your dreams and persevering and also running for what you believe in.
Hello and welcome to Globe Traction. My name is Pasil Telewa. Today on the show, I sit on this court with Madonna Wambua, a Kenyan based in the United States of America, who shares with me so much, including the fact that she's been able to author a book in Android applications, as she calls it, 80 recipes in Android applications. Wambua also talks to me how it's been for her, juggling between parenting, settling in the United States, and raising her two beautiful kids. I hope you enjoy her story.
Hello.
Nice meeting you finally. You know some of these things when we keep talking online and we don't, get to see each other, it really feels awkward and different, but it's so nice seeing you and you look amazing. Nice hair as well.
Thank you very much. I want to say the same. You look amazing too.
Thank you. For those who don't know you, please begin by introducing yourself and let's get this conversation started.
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Madonna Wambua. I am the founder and CTO of Jibu Labs. I am also an author. I'm also a Google Developer Expert for Android. And apart from that, I am a Women Tech Makers Ambassador. And also, I've keynoted in a couple of conferences. So I've traveled the world teaching Android, and it's been an amazing journey.
Wow, that is a whole lot of introduction. Madonna, I'm here specifically to talk about the initiative that you're doing with Jibu Labs. So tell me about your company, Jibu Labs, and what it is that you're doing.
Yes, so Jibu Labs, we are a consulting company registered here in the United States, where we help small businesses build their MVPs and even startups. Apart from that, though, we have a flagship product called Jenga Realty. Jenga Realty seeks to bridge a problem that I've observed and others that I've observed, which is being able to buy properties from here back home. By back home, I mean Africa. So this idea came about because when I've been here in the United States now for almost a decade, and I wanted to buy properties back home. Buy properties that can be a home or an apartment. But believe you me, it was so sad to realize that I could not do that from the tip of my hands. Yet we have mobile phones and applications and all this technology, but that is not solved yet. So Jenga Realty will be seeking to solve this problem. You can check us out, jengarealty.com. We're already accepting any future customers, investors, or even real estate agents who are willing to list in our platform, and more details to come.
Thank you for that. But why Jibu Labs? Why the name Jibu?
Now, that's a very good question. And to me, Jibu in Swahili just means answer. Now, I came up with this idea because I thought, why not have something that resonates with Africans? Because even though I'm building for small companies here in the United States through my consulting experience, I'm also wanting to connect back to my roots, which is something I feel like we Africans have. Whenever we travel, we feel like we don't want to leave that culture behind. And something else that I've also come to appreciate in the United States, especially in New York, people celebrate their cultures. You'll see people waving their flags. And it's so amazing how patriotic, you see people become when they're holding their flags. So I was like, I love Jibu. Jibu means answer. So we're a lab. We can build many projects and also we can consult on the side. So that's how Jibu Labs came to be, the name Jibu. And I love the fact that every time my clients, we get to work together, they're like, what does Jibu mean? And I love to give them that answer because I'm also telling them more about the origin of even the Swahili language and why it's important to preserve the language.
How long has Jibu existed?
So Jibu's not been in existence for so long. So we are now almost a year old. But apart from that, it feels to me like Jibu has been existing for a while. Yet I didn't go and register it yet until this year where I took it to heart. Like, hey, I really need to go through. Because sometimes I realize in life, don't sit on your projects. Go ahead and do it. I know it might be very hard, but believing in yourself and going ahead and doing it really is rewarding. That's what I'm doing. And I know it will be rewarding.
I see you particularly, speaking about Android. Why Android?
Wow, that's a very good question. Now, even though the market here in the United States is more iOS, Android is very, very massive worldwide. So earlier this year, I had an opportunity to actually visit the Mobile World Congress, which is a conference for connectivity, and it had actually over 80,000 people in attendance. So what I was doing there, I was actually hosting the Android show because I'm an Android expert. Now, one thing that I learned is that the Android market is very huge. I mean, as of 2023, 3.6 billion users. I mean, they use Android. So to me, why I gravitated toward Android and not iOS is the fact that Android is very accessible and available to everybody. And that's why my passion ignited. And also, I like to mention this. It was also my first phone. I didn't know about an iPhone.
Great. And I'm looking at the market perhaps in Kenya. That makes a lot of sense. However, is Jibu just, centered to the Kenyan market? Or what exactly is Jibu doing in the US? I mean, besides the realty bit.
Yes, and I think I mentioned this in the beginning. So in the US, I am a consultant. So I'm helping small businesses here in the US through their MVP and also startups. So through that, it's just building less of their website and building their apps because I'm pretty good at that already because I've been doing it for years, especially the app industry. So that's what we're doing here in the US. And then, like I mentioned, our flagship product, Jenga Realty, is just meant to help people that are here that are Africans, identify as Africans, and people back home. However, I also want to mention that research is showing that right now, many African Americans or Black Americans, they're trying to reconnect back with their roots, which means they're moving back to Africa a lot. When we've seen the country Ghana being the first where people are moving a lot. So to me, I just thought about it like, wow, it's the project Gender Realty is not only for Africans, just Kenyans. No, it's meant to be for the African home. That's why I'm out here chasing the New York investor life and funding because I think it's a very good idea to just, yeah,
Yeah, are you looking forward to expand it perhaps to other African countries?
totally. Yes. That's a big yes.
Great. Let's talk about Madonna. I understand you just authored a book recently, and what caught my eye is the 80 recipes of something and something. Tell me about your book, Madonna.
Yes, I have my book. It's over here. And this is amazing because to
I
me,
don't have a copy yet,
until
so you can understand why I don't
I
know
will
much
get you a
about it yet.
copy. Yes. To me, the most unbelievable thing was that when I joined Android here in the United States, and having worked in this field for a while, I have been alone in so many places. And to me, that really didn't feel okay to me. And I've been able to travel to teaching Android. I've been to Canada, I've been to Berlin, I've been to other parts of the world. But I realized every time I even give talks, it's men coming to my talks and not just men of color, just pure white men. I have nothing against the, I mean, the world in general or the white people in general, but it really resonated with me. And I started thinking, why are we not knowing about some of these things that are out there that can help us? Or how are we not knowing about, let's say, a programming language like Kotlin or Java that can really help build amazing stuff. So my motivation for writing this book was, first of all, I wanted to see if I can teach any young person out there who wants to try Android. So that's why I decided to go with a cookbook, because cookbook offers little recipes that you can actually follow to build to build your software or your first application. And instead of writing like a complete book where everybody is like, wow, what is happening here? Chapter one, chapter two. So the book is structured in recipes. And everybody out there, you can cook. You can learn how to cook following a recipe. Why not learn how to make an Android app? Following little recipes. So that's why I decided to go with the recipe. I also added because I'm a mom too, and I wanted to add my mom feel in it. So I was like, I want a cookbook. And to my surprise, I realized that turns out I'm the first author of an Android book, like a Black woman author of an Android book. And it was unbelievable.
Congratulations for being the
Thank
first
you very
Black
much.
woman to author a recipe book in Android. Now tell me, it's been 10 years since you moved to the US. What got you to move
Yeah,
there?
that's a very good question. So to me, before I even decided to move, I wanted to pursue and I feel like this is something that many of us really want to do or chasing, which is chasing those dreams. And to me, I wanted to go and study. So that was my biggest motivation, just come and study. Now, funny enough, my story even to technology is very interesting and wild because I didn't want to become a software engineer. No, I wanted to become an aeronautical engineer because I loved the planes. Every time I would look at the plane, knowing that I come from a not very well background, I would look at them and say, wow, one day I see myself flying. Or one day I see myself just knowing how they built the airplanes because to me, it was amazing. And actually, what even made me build the Android app, just to tie this topic back, was I got the phone and I was like, how did they build the snake game? How? The people that are building these things, why can't that be me? And now that it's me, I feel like I'm very fulfilled. So I moved to the United States just to pursue my dreams and also to study, which is what I did.
What was the challenges when when you set your foot in the United States for studies?
Yes.
Do you
So
still
I'm
remember?
going
I
to
mean,
give
it's been
you,
10 years, so
I cannot forget my first shocker.
go
There's
ahead,
no
girl.
way I'm forgetting my first shocker. So my first shocker was when I got to the United States, actually landed in Chicago and O'Hare. It's pretty big.
Wait,
And
did you study at the
I
University of Chicago?
no, I did not study. I studied at Samuel Jean College of Engineering, that is Auburn. However, I landed in Chicago. So when I landed in Chicago, there was snow. And it was around February, and all the planes got canceled, so I couldn't go anywhere. So I decided to take, because I had some money and I had some pocket change. So I decided to go buy something for dinner. And during that day, I didn't know how it works or anything. I was pretty new. Nobody was there to pick me yet in that station, Chicago, because I mean, nobody was there for me because all of flights were canceled. So I went to buy a burger. And when I went to get a burger, I thought so the burger said, back then it was $6. So it said $6. So when I was like, wow, I can afford this. $6. And then I gave the person $6. And they're like, no, it's not $6. It's going to be 7 point something. And I was like, how? It says $6 over here. So to me, I got a big shocker of taxes added after because we're not used to that in Kenya. So that was my biggest shock. I was like, I'm paying extra. I only have this exact amount. So it's a funny story, but I was like, they're ripping me off. I almost complained.
And I was about to ask, so why would you complain? So was that you going to do your undergrad, or you're going to, build up on an existing, degree?
Yes, so that was me going to do my
Was
undergrad.
it a
And that's
scholarship?
why I'm saying no, it was not a scholarship. So it was more of just family helping me raise funds to come study. And it was money that I knew that I didn't have enough of it. So when I got there and then I have to pay extra amount, I was like, there's no way. So to me, that shift really did shock me a little bit. But now I'm used to it. And every time I come to Kenya, I feel so happy because I'm like, wow, look at that. I paid the exact.
And look at you, very successful young woman. Tell me about your family, and
Thank you.
if you don't mind, women don't talk about their ages, but give me an approximate age.
Well, I am not yet in my 40s. I'm not yet in the middle of my 35.
I
So
like
that's
that
what I
hint.
would say.
Yeah.
And I have two kids, and I took my kids. So from time to time, when I travel to teach, because I've traveled to many states, I've spoken to over now 30 events, and I bring my kids because my kids are like, Mom, why are you always traveling? But I'm always integrating them into my system now, and I brought them to San Francisco, and there was this cool restaurant we went to, and the manager there was like, wow, did you bring your brothers out for dinner? This is so cool of you. Like, my brothers, those are my kids.
What
I
does,
know. I
does
was
that
like, oh,
mean?
thank you for the compliment.
Then that means you're pretty young, and your kids are not, like, I don't know how to put it. So you're lucky. I mean, it's a good thing.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was your transition like from you studied software engineering?
Yes.
Yeah. So how was your transition like, getting out of uni and then onto the job market?
Wow. So that's a very good question. So to me, I want to emphasize on something that I learned way in advance, which is I've always been a community builder. Even when I was in Kenya, I was actually very actively participating with the local communities, and that is through an organization called Stray Talk. So to me, I've always leveraged that power of community, and that really helped me a lot. Even when I left college, I already had like a community in existence. So that really helped me get my first job because I was able to just network with other people. And then I asked, hey, are you hiring? And they would say, yes, we are hiring. And through that, I was able to get my first job, which was immediately. However, I want to mention in school, there's always this good programs like Handshake, especially here in the United States, which is something that I feel like I don't know if the Kenyan system integrates that, but this is a very good idea that I saw here in the United States where they have something called the handshake, where when you're in your senior year or sophomore year, you're able to get those internship opportunities through that app. That is where companies actually reach out to you and they're like, hey, do you want to come work with us for summer? And then you have to go through an interview process and then you get a yes or a no, but it's a given opportunity. So it's amazing actually. It makes it much easier for graduates.
And how has it been for you raising, family back there as a Kenyan woman? Of course, trying to, reach your American dream.
Yes. Now, I think my biggest challenges are not being able to have my family around and raising my kids. When I got my kids, I was all by myself with my husband. I'm married. My husband has a PhD in math, and when he was doing his PhD too, it was pretty hard too. It was pretty tough, but we did persevere, and here we are. Now we're able to travel everywhere. We're able to take our kids to vacations, but during that time it was pretty hard because it was just us, me taking care of the kids. So definitely not having family around to just watch over your kids or people you can trust is pretty hard. It actually led me to actually even taking a sabbatical so that I can watch over my kids because it was hard to just leave your kids with everybody or just doing daycare. I did take my kids to early preschool and early kindergarten, but still the same. It felt that having family around really, really helps. But what can I say? Many of us are in this situation, and what we can do is just appreciate what we have and keep pushing. I feel like that's what I've learned because it really, at the end of the day, it paid out. Mhm.
How old are they?
So my biggest boy is 8 years old, and my little boy is 6, and my big one is going to be turning 9 this December. So the big grown kids.
Wow, that's so nice to hear. You mind telling me about what your mathematician husband does?
Yes, so he works in Wall Street, New York. So he works for Citibank as a risk analyst.
Is he Kenyan? Is he African? Is he American?
Yes, yes, he's Kenyan, definitely. Kenyans are
Great.
doing pretty good, I
He's
would say.
Kenyan,
I mean,
definitely. Why the assumption Kenyan, definitely? You didn't want to look elsewhere. Come on, Madonna.
I know, I know, that's a very good question. But I mean, you never know. I mean, I think to me, when stars align, and I feel like he's in he's now doing machine learning on the side and also building his machine learning startup, and I'm doing tech stuff. So I think we have a lot in common. We all love mathematics too, so we have a lot in common. So I feel like that's what made us gravitate toward each other. Definitely there's hard times and good times, hard times and also good times. But being married now for some years, I would say, as long as you find somebody that makes that spark, and also you find something in common that you have in common, really helps a lot. Because from time to time we would do just math for fun, which is awesome. And now our kids love to do math, which is amazing.
Wow.
Because my kids, I think my second grader, who's now going to third grade, he's doing fifth grade math already. So it's pretty. Even my little one too is doing like third grade math, so they're already placed higher.
That is amazing. Are you integrating, your kids into the African Kenyan culture already? And do they have Kenyan
Oh my
names, by the
goodness.
way?
Yes, they have Kenyan names and they are integrated into the culture. So first of all, I feel like the curiosity that I've always had, my kids picked it from me because they're very curious. So I brought them to Kenya in December, took them to the safari. They loved it. From then, they've been asking me questions about words in Swahili, words in our language, and they just want to understand all these languages. They're already learning Spanish because they're expected to learn Spanish at school. So they know Spanish, English, and now they're learning some Swahili and some traditional language. And they're like, I love this. They love it themselves. They're like always excited, like, okay, mom, what do you say this in Swahili? And then I
Yeah.
tell them it's so I don't know if I can say this. This was pretty funny. They saw songs. We also listened to Kenyan music from time to time, and they saw a song and it said Pombe in it. And then they asked me, Mom, what is that? And then there was a popcorn thing, and I said, it's actually popcorn. And then my son started saying, I want Pombe. I know it's a funny story. And then I ended up telling him, no, you cannot say that. And he's like, why? I thought it's popcorn, Mom. Told him, okay, I lied.
There is an assumption, when you hear Kenyan names, and you can immediately place to, wherever the part of the
Yeah.
country whoever comes from. Where do you come from? And have
Yes.
you introduced your kids as well to your mother tongue?
Yes. So I would say Kamba. Wambua is Kamba, definitely. And I have introduced my kids to Kamba. From time to time, they would ask their grandma what some of these things mean, and they're very excited to know what they mean. So yes, but they do know to definitely say, like when they're greeted, they know how to respond, but it's still hard for them to communicate with their great grandma because it's still very hard for them to like understand Camber completely. But I've realized kids are very smart. So every time I tell them something I say in Camber, they can translate that in English somehow, which means they can actually understand it but not speak it. So I love that.
Which is your high school, Madonna? I mean, which high school, which primary, which school did you go to?
Myself, well, so I didn't go to any. I went to private school, and it wasn't like a very big known private like private school that's pretty known by everybody, but I went to a school called Good Shepherd back in the days. So just a local school. So I did, like I told you, I didn't come out from any fancy background or any cool background. That's why I believe in chasing your dreams
Yeah.
and persevering and also running for what you believe in. Because to me, I feel like what has brought me to this far over these years, just being able to see my book being read by Americans, is persevering and having that grit to push and dream higher and believe in God too. I believe in God a lot.
I presume you don't know any mother tongue, do you? What is it that you
No, I
miss?
do.
What food do you miss so much in your local language?
Okay, I would say mutokoi. And
Uh-huh.
believe you me, I I know mother tongue and I speak it to my mom a lot because my mom knows English, which is nice because now she has, grandkids and she's been learning and they've been speaking to her. But we speak mother tongue a lot, so I'm pretty fluent in mother tongue. I mean, sometimes I did notice I'm struggling from time to time, but I wouldn't say it's that bad. It's good. I give myself a 10 or an 8.
Yeah, and I think I cannot give you any based on the fact that Ndokoi is quite a popular name. So unless I listen or hear you speak Kamba, then I can be able to rate you. However, what is it that you miss so much whenever you are in New York or whenever you live, Kenya as your home country?
Well, yeah, that's a very good. So to me, I feel like, however, this is something that we as a citizen can definitely work on and improve in. So normally what I miss when I leave New York is that peace, because I drive my car, have my car, and I drive myself from time to time. However, I want to mention New York is very chaotic when you're driving, but there's the sense of things moving. Like I cannot be stuck in traffic unless it's something major or something huge that's happening for, let's say, 30 minutes. The longest you can see traffic will be like 5 minutes and then it moves. So that has really given me that ease of things. I feel like as also when we grow older, we kind of tend to start appreciating the little things in life because you're like, wow, this really can frustrate me. So when I came to Kenya in December, I was driving around. I got a car. I was driving around myself. I mean, I lived in a nice area, so I didn't experience any issue. I didn't go to town. I know we call it town, I don't know if it's downtown, but it's just town. I didn't drive to town, but it wasn't as bad. So definitely, I felt it was similar. And also the vibe for New York and the vibe for Kenya, if you've been to New York and you've been to Kenya, it feels very similar. For people that even travel, they'll tell you it feels very similar. Pretty fast pace and also very friendly, many people around talking to you.
Chaotic.
So maybe I would say just family, definitely. And what else? Because the other things definitely that have to do with things working. I mean, and I feel like it's something that we don't appreciate as much, but I feel like I was just telling my husband the other day, my only biggest issue, if somebody was asking me, do you want to move back to Kenya permanently? And I was
I
like,
was
well,
about
my only
to
biggest
ask
issue
you
would
that.
be, yeah, my biggest issue has always been I'm so used to seeing things work and not having to chase people around to find, for instance, I run a company and every time I have an invoice, I don't have to chase anybody. They know the invoice is due, they will pay me. Exactly. So I feel like that's the easy of things that I've come to appreciate, that I feel like if Kenya, which I think it's definitely possible, I always believe in possibilities. And I feel like maybe in the future, it's something that we will definitely work harder to achieve. But yeah, those kind of small things really tend to go a long way. And also just being able to go to the hospital and the doctor tells you, hey, we're not just going to prescribe you an issue, we're going to look into what's actually happening to you. And also things that I didn't even know that existed back in Kenya, like having an annual visit for your doctor. I mean, it's unbelievable. Here you get like an annual visit every year. They do your blood work to check how your body is doing. They check your cholesterol, diabetes. I think to me, those things really make sense now that I'm here. And I feel like that is something that definitely need to be integrated back home.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your time, Madonna. I really appreciate you making time to have, us discuss these issues on Globe Traction. And I'm hoping that your
Yeah.
book is available on Amazon or something.
It is available on Amazon. And I was actually looking to find a local store in Kenya to see if I can distribute some there so that it might be easy for people that are trying to learn Android because the future is technology. And I feel like technology jobs are here to stay, especially now with generative AI. I know many people have had this already. And I know already people in Kenya are speaking about it, or if they're not speaking about it, it will get there definitely. So it is good to know that the future jobs are in technology, women, men, anybody can be in tech, especially women. We don't have so many women in tech. We don't have so many Android engineers in tech yet. I mean, so we don't have so many Android engineers yet. So I would definitely ask if anybody has a question, feel free to reach out to me. I'm always mentoring around or helping other people just know how to get started. And my book again is pretty welcoming for people that don't know how to get started, like even show you what you download fast, what you install, how you can build that fast application like an hello world, and then the rest is just you taking time to investigate on more. So yeah, I'm really encouraging all people, please chase your dreams. Tech is here to stay, and I would recommend that as a job. Please look into it.
Thank you so much for your time, Madonna. And you haven't shared with me what
Totally.
challenges it has been for you putting together that book, besides setting up your Jibu Lab. And I'd love that people would
Hmm.
also, listen or rather understand that bit of you.
Yes, now that's a very good question. And to me, I feel like writing a book is not easy. It took me a year and some months to finish writing the book. And to me, I feel like the most challenging part was the technical reviews, because, of course, it's a technical book and it has to be reviewed by other technical people that are in the industry just to make sure that what I'm writing is to par and it's good and it caters to the Android community. And to me, I felt every time that I was writing the book, actually wanted to give up because I was like, oh my goodness, oh, what am I doing? Who am I lying to? How am I even an author right now? I actually wanted to give up so many times, but my family kept pushing me and telling me, hey, actually, it's not bad. And then when I told my kids that I was writing a book, my kids were so excited. So they kept telling me, wow, mom, what chapter are you on? I was like, oh my God. So they kept pushing me to keep writing because they would ask, what chapter, mom? Can I write a book too? What chapter are you on? And now my kids also want to write books. And I'm like, okay. So definitely there's a lot of research that goes into writing a technical book because this is a technical book. And to me, I also feel like leveraging that cookbook recipe kind of format really helped me a lot because it made it much easier because now I just write recipes like actually step one, you build your this. Step two, add this code. Step three, do this. So I just started thinking about it as actually maybe just think about it like the way I would just go online, find a recipe and follow those and cut onions, put tomatoes, put chilies. Yes. And then it turned out to be great.
So then
And then
that
now
so
when I
then
see it
that, that does
inside,
does that
it
mean that
looks
you
very
have
great.
80 apps in there?
So, no. So it doesn't mean I have 80 apps. It just means that the recipes inside are that amount, which means whenever you're looking into this product, they're small bits. And that is just building, let's say, let me show you something. I have an app. That's it. Sorry, I have a phone. That's my phone. And that phone has apps. Now, the app has buttons, has many interactions that you can do, like click a button, have a waiver go through, so many things. So building those things, it's what is encompassed inside the recipes. Because, I mean, if you're not taught how to build this, you cannot make an entire app. But if you know how to do, sorry, excuse me, if you know how to build all this bits by bits, it becomes easier. So that's what I did. Just showing people like how can you build a button? How can you make something suckle? How can you make a clickable button like have an effect? How can you make, let's say, a card? How can you make, let's say, something that has cities? So I also travel a lot. So I was like, there's this page here, like displaying all the cities, like my favorite city. Like how would you display cities like that? So just going slowly and showing people how to display lists, all those stuff, all the cool stuff.
So I understand that it's not just about, Jibulab and the project that you're doing with the Kenyans. There's more to Madonna. Tell me more, Madonna.
Yes, so I am also an Android expert, which means I get to speak about Android matters, expert here, recognized by Google, which gives me a little bit of authority in Android space. I sometimes like to mention that I don't consider myself as an expert because there's a lot to learn in Android, but I was recognized by Google for my work, for my outstanding work. Also, this year, I got an opportunity to be named as 100 Technologies to Watch by Women Who Code, which is a global initiative, which was super amazing. So I'm pretty excited about that. And apart from that, too, I am also AnitaB.org co-chair this year. So what that means is I get to help AnitaB.org shape content that's going to be in their conference. And AnitaB.org brings over 30,000 women from around the world in STEM. So if you're someone in Kenya in STEM and looking to find a conference that you can travel to worldwide, please look up AnitaB.org. And funny enough, I actually have a picture of some amazing Kenyan ladies that I met back in 2019 at AnitaB.org. And we took a picture. I was like, wow, this is amazing. And I think one of the lady now, she's pretty huge in Kenya, doing a couple of things with Python. I think she's called Velda. I know her first name Velda, but otherwise, please feel free to look up those organizations. They're very, very helpful. And also something else I want to mention is that right now, oh, sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, no, go on. Right now?
Yeah, so right now, that we have online conferences, the community has become smaller. So you can still be in Kenya and be able to access events in the United States. Because I mean, right now everything is online, and online people are allowed to attend conferences online. So find those communities. You don't know if you're a freelancer, you can find your next job there. Also, look into Google developer communities because there's so many and they organize online events. Please sign up, attend those if you want to learn one or two new things. And yeah, for instance, I think I'll be speaking at online conference for an event actually in Nigeria, which is amazing.
And why don't you think, Madonna, we don't have as many women in STEM, as opposed to our counterparts? And what can we do to ensure that our numbers go higher?
Now, that is a very great question that you asked, Talawa. And I feel like to me, the biggest issue that I've seen is that, so when you're a kid, when you grow up, your parents, what do they know? They know medicine, they know lawyer, they know other things, but they don't know tech. And many parents don't even know that there's a tech that's in existence. So for you, or for someone that doesn't know where to start, to hear the tech word, it's pretty hard. So I feel like that has been the big issue because number one, it has to be from parents. My mom, she would normally tell me, hey, I want you to be a doctor. I was like, okay. And I feel like that is what many parents tell their kids, either be a doctor, be a lawyer. Those are popular known professions. So I feel like to me, we need to change the narrative on the profession that are available. Because if you went to 10 houses right now and asked people in those houses, like, what is computer science? I doubt, just, I doubt they would even know what that means or even what. They would definitely know maybe tech, their phones or computers, but they wouldn't know that it's a field that actually people can study. So I feel like that to me has been the biggest issue. And then the other issue is just also at school. Women are not encouraged to pursue the tech fields because I remember when I was growing up, even at school, I don't remember us being asked. I knew there was computer science, it was mentioned, but it wasn't taken as serious because we didn't even have the laptops at school to like propel our knowledge in computer science. So it has to start from parents telling their kids, hey, actually, how about you try computer or this kind of fields that are coming up? And also, it has to come from people like me telling other people that, hey, this field exists and it's great. Of course, it's not easy. There's no field that's easy. Doctor, lawyer, you have to work hard, similar. So I would say definitely look into those things are in existence and let's spread the word. And also at schools, be out, like just be out there telling them, hey, tell the students that they can actually take computer science. And also I feel like one of the things that I'm doing that's really helping me and I feel like I'm giving back in a nice way is just being able to talk about tech in general and people just seeing a woman or someone that looks like them teaching Android, it's motivated. I've gotten so many messages of people just telling me, hey, Madonna, I'm actually decided to do Android because of you. And I'm like, oh my goodness, thank you. Hope I can inspire more. to come in. And not only in Android, you can be in iOS, you can be in web, you can be in data, or you can be in machine learning. There's so much going on in tech. So yeah, please look it up.
Wow, that is quite, educational, and I really hope that somebody can benefit from what you shared with us today. Thanks for making time to be on the show today,
Yeah.
Madonna. I really, really appreciate, and thank you for what you're doing, even when you're away from your home country, to just make sure that you're impacting the community.
Yes. In fact, I think last year I had the honor to speak, actually to keynote at a Women Tech Makers event in Nairobi at High Hub. We had over 200 people attend, which was amazing. So I'm always grateful for the community reaching out to me to help just inspire others. So yeah, thank you very much for having me.
My regards to your family.
Thank you very much.
Okay, bye bye. Did you enjoy this story of author, consultant, and mother? I hope you did. And if you did, make sure you join us again every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Kenyan time only on KTN News. If you have a story you'd like to share, don't hesitate. Write to us through GlobeTraction at standardmedia.co.ke or DM us on our social media platforms at GlobeTraction or at KTN News KE. You can also tap that follow button to me on my social media platforms at Pasil Kelewa on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok for more stories. But until then, I hope to catch up with you again same time, same place. Bye bye for now.